Hi guys, how are you? Haven't been on in a while. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining the live so early too. Just gonna wait for a few other people to join before I start. I hope you've been having a good week so far. Well, it's just Monday, but at least hope you had a good Monday and a good weekend. Oh, I've been good. Busy but good. Thanks for asking. But I guess it's good to be busy sometimes, right? So that's good. We're looking forward to tonight. Looking forward to hearing from Karlet. Karlet is someone that I have actually worked with when I was putting Spike together. Actually, she's someone who was instrumental in that part of it for me because I had attended one of her events at that time where I was able to also meet a lot of other persons. Two persons stand out specifically, Ayana Angel and Antoinette Minor, who were helpful in helping me to shape Spike. So it was really very good, and I am so happy that I met her. I would suggest you follow her on Instagram because she's always doing something. She's always telling you something in the stories and keeping it up to date on technology that would be helpful and a range of stuff. So I'd advise you follow her at Karlet Hewitt. Hi Crystal, how are you? Oh, she's here now, so I will add her. Yes, yes, really. And I've been following Karlet for a long time. So I remember before she went out fully on her own in her business and she was doing her entrepreneurship and have had her full-time job at the same time. And I've seen her grow from strength to strength. The Per Point group is doing its thing. She is doing her thing. So I would suggest you follow her so you can keep up with everything I know about hopping because of Karlet. So you need to check her out. Hey Karlet, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm over here listening to you introduce me like me.
Yes, you. That event will forever stand out. I think I even have clips of that event in some of the highlight reels here on highlights on this page. So yes, I will always remember that.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to go look at those highlights. That was like nostalgic.
Yes, that was a pivotal time for me. So I'm really happy that I was able to come to your event at that time. So everyone, this is Karlet. This is Karlet. Karlet is a producer. And she has been doing a lot of things. As I was saying, I've been watching her career from strength to strength. But I'm going to allow her to introduce herself to you right now. So go ahead, Karlet.
Thank you so much. So Karlet Hewitt here. Some of you may know me previously as Karlet Reed, but I'm Karlet Hewitt. I am the owner and founder of events management agency, the Per Point Group, based in New York City, Los Angeles, and now Raleigh, North Carolina. And so it has been a fun 7 years, almost 7 years in the event industry. Going through the ebbs and flows through COVID and life happenings, and we still pumping through and pushing through and doing amazing things.
Right, I was about to say, like, Karlet is doing big things even in COVID, finding new avenues, being busy, everything. That's why I said you have to check out what's going on with Karlet so you can get some tips and tricks.
Yeah.
But yes, I know that some people will join this live or will watch this live eventually because Karlet is on. So I just want to give a brief introduction about Spike as well so people can know who we are and what we do. So I am Alex Green and I am the founder and CEO of Spike. Spike is a customer experience strategy firm and we enable businesses to grow their revenues and productivity by attracting and maintaining Happy customers through stellar customer experiences. So that's what we do. Essentially, Spike was born because a lot of us are frustrated with the service we receive when we are spending our money to get things done. So we help businesses to fix those things so we can enjoy spending our money and spend more money as well because we love what we are getting, not only the product, but the service as well.
That's right.
So, like I said, Karlet has been doing big things, and Karlet has worked with a lot of persons and a lot of capacities. So I think Karlet is someone who is ideal to speak with us about her experiences on the business end and on the customer end. How the customer experience affects your job, affects your company, and how it has affected you personally when you are going about your business, doing everything that you have to do. So, all in all, I guess the first thing I would want to ask you, Karlet, is how important is the customer experience for you in your daily transactions?
So important. So important. I think what you do is super important and often forgot about too. Just so you know. Hold on. You know I'm on live, right? So here goes my
yes.
Yeah, I'm on live. So what you do is so important and often forgot about because first of all, word of mouth marketing is like the greatest form of marketing, right? When you have a poor customer service journey, it doesn't matter how great your business is. It doesn't matter how great of services you offer. People will literally not support your business just because of how your customers felt, right? And so I think what you guys do in the marketplace is often forgot about. And I encourage anybody on here that's a business owner, small business owner, you should definitely make sure you set up, at least have a consultation with Alex and her team to have a conversation about what your customer journey looks like. It is so important, especially if you're client facing.
Right, and you're so right, because one of the things I think people often forget is that we're living in a world now where things are not as inaccessible. It doesn't matter where you are living, people can get the same thing somewhere else, and the price differentiation is so slim. So the real advantage that you're going to have is how people feel after doing business with you or during doing business with you. And it's
even before they do business with you.
Excellent to point out, because as you were saying, it's word of mouth. People are going to trust the experiences of people they already know. So if someone is saying that they didn't have a good experience, chances are I'm going to try to find an alternative from using you, right? So I think people often forget that, and they really need to remember, especially when you become a business owner, remember how you felt when you were doing business or when you still do business with people and what you really require. And don't let that get too far away from you. And one thing we always try to impress is on especially smaller businesses, because I've realized that people think, let's just wait until we get to a certain level before we think about it. But it is something that you need to be thinking about from the top, because you have to build it into the culture of your company in order for it to be effective and long lasting, and you won't have to be starting over when your company has expanded so much, right?
Very true. Very true. I see some of my people on here. Hey,
I see them too, because I don't know these names.
Hit the follow button. Follow you guys. Follow the Spike. Hit the follow button.
So, of course, I asked you about how it is for you generally, but as a business owner now, how much emphasis do you place on it when you're thinking about the next moves for your business, or even persons you may engage to do business on behalf of your company? How important is it for you?
This is such a great question, because in the beginning, so I started my company back in 2015, and initially I didn't give this any thought, right? Just because naturally I was freelancing back then, and naturally we just do things in excellence, right? We show up. Well, I would hope so. I hope everybody on here does in excellence. So I never gave any intentional thought to what my customer service journey or customer roadmap looked like. I would just think I want to provide services, and I want to treat my clients the way I want to be approached when I'm, looking for a service inquiry. So how is excellence going to be conveyed digitally? right? Because it's not necessarily a phone call anymore. I don't really talk to people at all. They submit an inquiry on my website or even in my DM sometimes, right? But like, what is the approach? What is the approach that I want them to feel when they first make contact with me? And I think for me personally, I operate in excellence in everything that I do. I try my very best to do it. I'm not perfect at it. I do have my days. But for the most part, I make sure, like, you know, just at every touch point, people are going to be happy when they leave my presence.
Right, and I'm glad you brought that up too, because sometimes people really just tend to think about on the phone, and it's really not always about on the phone. You have to think about the journey, as you're saying. So if you have a website, or even if you have an Instagram page for your business, think about how people are going to interact with it. I saw a post the other day where a lot of business owners were complaining about customers. Complaining about how customers interact with them online, and that they don't read, and they are bombarded with messages, etc. And I'm just thinking, you know, that's the wrong mindset. Even you are getting bombarded with messages, look at it as, one, you should be happy that you're getting any messages at all, right? Mm-hmm. Two, if you're being bombarded with messages, that means that there is a problem with your information flow. There is something that people need that they're not getting from you. No matter how much you're saying you're putting it in a particular place, if people are asking you there, it's not effective, right? And all of that is a part of the customer experience. Are you using an automated response depending on where you know? There are lots of options, and I think that we limit customer experience a lot of times to just thinking about what happens when people answer the phone, or am I being polite, and all of that. And it goes so much farther.
Or I'm gonna be nice to you when I make the sale. It's like the relationship is gonna start when you check out, and it's like
exactly, and that's just not it, right? That's just not it. So as you were saying, you know, it's really far-reaching. You have to think about it from the start to the end and how we are going to recover, because the reality is something is going to go wrong. And because something goes wrong doesn't mean you lose the person forever. It all comes back to how do you recover when that happens, because it has to happen at some point, right? We're human.
Good. That is such a good point.
Right.
Gosh, there's so much to say about this topic, Alex. I think I just want to go back to like my previous point is just anybody that's listening in, if you are a small business owner, you should, even now, right? Even if things are going well for you in your business, I would highly encourage you to like take some time, even over the next couple of days as we're rounding up the rest of the month, like really go through like what are your touch points when people connect with you in your business, because you can always improve your process, but you can't improve the process if you don't even know what the process is. I was actually just talking to someone about, we developed a new workflow for a client. We developed a new workflow with how their sales team operates. And they didn't think these things through because they're operators, right? They just do. But there's a strategy behind the operation. Like there needs to be, you know, what are your email sequences? What does it look like? What emails do you need to have in place? And to your point, you mentioned, you know, somebody asking the same question over and over and over again is literally because, just like Alex said, there's no process in place. Who's catching that inquiry? Why is there no resolve already thought through? You know, I think coming up with solutions when a problem is presented is a real problem. That's a problem.
Yes, you have to stay ahead of it, and of course you have to be aware as well, because as you fix things, there are other things that's happening, because your company is always growing and expanding, having new shifts. So you have to be thoughtful and be present and really listen to what people are saying and what people are asking you, so that you can fix it. One of the things we do, and I realize similar to what you are saying, we work with some companies, and the first thing we might ask is, what is your process, or how do I get this done? And if I ask you that question and you are booking to answer me, then you should know exactly why your customers don't know what's going on, because you don't know. You can't articulate it well, and if you can't articulate it, your customers don't know either. So you have to know exactly what you're doing, how it's happening, and everything that touches that, everything that affects that, and keep on looking at it as you grow and shift and change. So right on the money with that one.
So good and so true. And not enough business owners think about this part of the process. It's equivalent to, you know how you have your marketing team? You know, you have your marketing team, you have your HR team. don't care what industry you're in. I don't care what you're selling. I don't care if it's online or offline. That customer service, that client service, that retention, it's literally the meat of your business. And without it, you literally have no business. Yeah, you have no business.
One of the things we are always driving home is that you make your money with your retained clients. That's where you get most of your money from, if you can retain them well, because you don't have to keep spending money on new people to feed your business. You have a base and everything else is a surplus. So you really need to ensure that you're treating them well and not only have things to pull people, but continue to do things to keep people. So, and I'm glad you even mentioned like marketing and sales and all of that, because when we're doing journey mapping and so on with our clients, we tend to ask them to have someone from each department that touches this process or touches this product, because you need their input. That's one of the things that people tend to leave out as well. You're just saying, oh, I am the operations manager, I am the CEO, so whatever I say goes. But there are perspectives that you are missing if you leave people out, because they are the ones affected by it, they are the ones executing it. So it's important to hear what they have to say, hear what your staff has to say, and not only your customers, because another thing we realize too is that whatever issues your staff is having, whatever they continue to complain about, it has some impact on whatever the customer continues to complain about. Wherever they're having a difficulty, the difficulties usually sync up. So it's good to pay attention. And some people even think that they have no data, even if they're small. You always have data. You might not have the most data, but start with what you have, and you can from there. All right. I'm having a good time.
No, it's so important. This is such a good conversation and such an important conversation that we don't have enough. We just don't. We always want to talk about
send all the people over to our page so they can be aware.
No shade to any other industry, but I think especially now, especially now in our communities, Black and brown communities, we need to spend a little bit of extra time, on thinking through our customer service journey, because what happens oftentimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, you feel like because you're doing business with somebody that looks like that you automatically friend them. We automatically just land in a
right on the money, and they don't realize that a lot of people don't like that. I'm spending my money just like anyone else. I want to be treated well, I want to be treated professionally. I don't know you, we're not friends, I am a customer, treat me well. And I remember during earlier on in the pandemic when things were really crazy with people are really driving the point.
Alex, I am so sorry. Pause for 1 second, because I have this little boy here. Hold on 1 second, because
no problem.
Yeah, you can't do that. So please, you want to say hi to the people? You can say hi to the people, but you're gonna have to get Adam. He thinks he can play his video game with his friend. You have to hang up. You have to hang up because I'm on live. You can't be talking on the phone while I'm on live.
He has his own business to deal with.
Did you see that? Did you see that post earlier? I was like, what is happening?
He has his own
business about that
too. That's fine. What was I saying? I do remember. It will come back to me. But for now, we can move on to a different section. I always ask this question because it's always interesting. But the persons to relate to us, their most distinct customer experience that may not have been so positive, but you had to deal with as a business owner.
I did. I had a really bad situation happen last year in the middle of a pandemic, and I will never forget it because it is why I developed stronger SOPs. I didn't like standard operating procedures. I didn't have them prior to. I never thought I needed it. So we were producing an event on site in the middle of a pandemic, and we had an issue with the Wi-Fi when we were live streaming.
Right.
So the live stream literally cut out. And this is an event with like major celebrities, like, I don't even know. It was a mess. And I freaked out inside. My heart was just pounding quickly. And I'm like, oh my gosh. how could this happen? This is something that we anticipated, but you just don't think these things are going to happen to you, right? Like, it may have happened, but it ain't gonna happen to me. So the internet went out. We had to think so quickly on how to like rectify the situation in real time, right? Because the show still has to go on, even though things aren't working well. To what you said earlier, we had to like bounce back really quickly. But the real challenge came when the event was over. We got through the event, but when the event was over and we had to then turn to the client and say, hey, we apologize. Like, this is what happened. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't intend for this to happen, but here's what happened. That was challenging. And I think just as small business owners, like, there's always accountability attached to every mishap. And no matter what happens, once you're a service provider, it is on you, right? Like, you have to take accountability for the mishap and you have to rectify it. So we had to put together like a postmortem, and we had to put together like a detailed description on what went wrong and how we could have resolved it. And my gosh, that was a learning lesson for me. I firmed up my contracts, right? Because that was something that that's not written in the contract, what the contingency plan is going to be. Initially, I didn't have that written in, but I then had to get that written into my contract. I had to develop stronger SOPs, and I had to prep my team as well. Like, hey, in the event that A should happen, then B, like, this is what we're going to do. So we're all on the same page. I honestly can say that was an event that really shaped just how we even move forward right now.
That was that's excellent, because that's a part of the service that we offer too, helping you to develop service recovery plans. Because a lot of, just as you said, you had an experience, and out of that you created your service recovery plans, and that's excellent on you, because a lot of persons, they just keep waiting for things happening to come up with a service recovery plan, and it doesn't make sense. You are hurting yourself, hurting your brand, hurting your business by doing that. I mean, of course, there are things that might come up that you don't have a plan for, and then you do something afterward. But for the majority of the time, you have an opportunity to think about what the possibilities are and come up with something, especially if you have a team. Because as we all know, everybody is not going to be as alert and responsive about your brand, protecting it and doing everything like you would in the moment. So in the events you are not there, or you're preoccupied or so on, your team needs some guidelines about what to do. And if there are guidelines in one area and then something comes up that's in a different area, they can use it as a gauge to say, okay, this is how we're thinking, this is what we want to happen. So it's important to think about those things. I saw Shante was reminding me of what I was saying earlier. I was talking about exactly what you're saying. Like last year when a lot of people were talking about Black Lives Matter and supporting Black businesses, and a lot of comments were spiraling about how we don't support Black businesses. Yeah. And on the flip side, others were saying, but you don't get good service at Black businesses. And exactly what you were saying. Like, we have to, it's not that people don't want to support you a lot of the times just because they don't want to support. You have to think about what is happening with you, because there are also service providers that I have tried on the strength of I'm supporting Black businesses, and the products may have been good, but the service, I was like, I am not going back. Yeah. So I think it's time for us to really take responsibility for a lot of that and make the investments that we need to ensure that this is not the reason we continue to limit ourselves, not grow, not retain, and all of that. So as you're saying, this is a big component that people keep overlooking.
Yeah, I want to add to that, because this is something that I learned early on in my career. Two things. One, I learned about contingency plans early on, and that's just from back when I was in corporate. We always have a contingency plan. Like your employer right now, for those of you that have an employer, they have a contingency plan for you, right? Like if something should happen and you don't report to that job tomorrow, they probably take a day or two and they're going to put somebody else in that seat. Like there is a contingency plan in everything that I do. Like I have to make sure we have coverage, right? So start thinking through that. And then the second thing I wanted to say was, it just lost me. It was so good too. I wanted to say, with respect to supporting Black businesses, right? That does not happen with every Black business. Like it does not happen. Every Black business owner is not going to friend you, right? But it does happen. And so when it does happen, I'm often reminded that products sell themselves. products sell themselves. If you want to go to the store and you see a sheet, or you see a glass or a mug or a pot, or, you know, seasonings or whatever, and you want that product, you're going to buy it so long as you want it. But if they give you poor service, or you have a bad experience when you're at that store, or you're dealing with that vendor, or, you know, even online, you can go someplace else, because products sell themselves. So people don't buy products. They buy, you know, the journey. They buy the experience on how they feel interacting with your brand. And I think just as small business owners, no matter what industry you're in, always keep that top of mind, that products sell themselves. They buy the experience of interacting with you and your brand.
Yes. So with that in mind, right, because it is difficult to maintain a certain service level all the time. Mm-hmm. Just when you think about your humanity and things that are going on in your life. One of the products we offer is called CX Unlocked. It's an online training portal. Persons can go to a website, buy the courses they want to, buy modules they want to, and go right along. So one of the modules we offer is emotional balance. So it's kind of there to help you to remain professional and giving you some tools to help you to be able to offer the service that you need to at the standard that you need to, regardless of what's going on with you. So I definitely have some tricks that I use to maintain. So for you, how do you maintain your professionalism even when things are going on in your life? I know you had some things happen in your life all at once and you keep going. How do you do that?
It would seem so, right? It would appear that I keep going. This is such a great question, and I think I'm really happy that you asked that, actually. I don't always have to be I'm not always at the front of the business, right? I think for me, I'm grateful that I have people on my team that I can turn to and be like, hey, I need you to fill in for me here. I'm not in the right mental space. I can't deal with this client. I don't want to be front facing. And I'm not always front facing, thank God, right? Thank God I have like systems in place and people in place where I can step back and deal with my life. I'm doing that now, right? So an inquiry might come in. I don't take inquiries. Like, inquiries come in, they come directly to me, but I pass that off to my business partner. And I'm so grateful for Alicia, because she steps in every single time and she just gets it done, you know? And we don't miss a beat. Like, nothing. Like, I could be going through fires in my personal life, and I see her taking care of everything. For those of you that don't have, you know, the luxury of having somebody step in for you, that's where contingency plan comes in place. Like, I think it's really important to have a backup plan. If life is happening, will my business be affected because I'm having a bad day? If life is happening, am I going to be able to service my clients? Because life happens for all of us. And I am not always able to show up in my best day, Alex. Okay. I can't always show up with my good face on. You know, don't let this red lipstick fool you, because some days I'm like, listen, I'm done. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not doing anything, but I'm grateful that I have good people that I can turn to and be like, hey, can you fill in for me? My advice would be to ask for help. Maybe you don't have the budget where you can actually add teammates, but maybe you have like a good friend or somebody who's, you know, in your industry or familiar with your industry who can fill in for you. Develop templates, have email templates set aside where you don't necessarily have to engage with people if life is happening. Just having systems like that in place is really helpful. I hope that answers.
Yes, that's true. And I am thankful too for my team, because they have been able to step up when I need to step back, because that's a reality of life. Now, as you said, all of us aren't in that position where we have a team who can necessarily step in for us. Mm-hmm. So one of the things we speak to, especially through our CX Unlocked, is persons who may have frontline jobs. So you are directly customer facing and you're having a terrible time. What are you going to do? And we speak about like quick fix anchors, daily anchors, things that you have to really put in your life to help you along if this is the type of job you are in. And of course, as Crystal is saying, you know, teamwork is a big thing. So even if you are not at the space where you can just have someone do everything for you, in every job it's a group of people somehow, and it's good to invest in, for managers, business owners, to invest in developing that team so that they're able to support each other when things happen, because it's important to keep that in place and to have, for team members to feel like they're supported by each other, because if that doesn't happen, someone will break down in front of your customers, and it's gonna be negative for you in the end. So it's best to invest in getting that type of training, that type of investment to just keep the team going, keep the team together along the way, and not just like a once a year we're gonna do a retreat here and we're gonna be working anyway. No, we need to make it a constant thing. It has to be in the culture of the place. So even though we do workshops on different things, but it's really good to get into the culture, into the systems, into the process, and we work with you long term to do that. So I just want to
something else to note is, just for people that don't actually have a team, is like industry professionals, like your peers. My peers, I'm so grateful for just the industry peers that I have of other event professionals that we teach each other in real time. I remember when the pandemic first started and there were so many event professionals that were like, oh my God, how are you getting business? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, listen, I know you like flowers, girl, but right now you're going to have to pivot, So just having like industry relationships are important. Do not discount industry relationships. I see Karen in the comments there. Like, Karen and I met on, I think, Clubhouse. And like, I know I can call on Karen if I have a question for something. And if I ever needed something, I'm sure Karen can call on me and vice versa. And we can just kind of like fill in for each other. So don't be afraid to like network laterally with your peers, so that when you do need people to help you, people will rise up to the occasion to support you, because people will do it as long as you ask.
That's true too. And it's good for it can be good for for how your business grows as well. Because I remember one time we were working with a client and the contract needed us to have another component that we could do, but it would have been a stretch. So we leaned on one of our peers to fulfill a part of the contract. So we kind of team up and attack it. So it's not always about, we're competitors. Sometimes it's good to come together so you can get the win. So that's a good perspective to have as well. And if you have people that you trust that will deliver in the way you would, it helps you too. There is enough for everybody. So
yes, so true, so true.
So I know I want us to switch roles. Like, we have been talking about it from the business owner's perspective, but as a consumer, when it's your turn to go and do whatever you want, how important is it? What do you do? How do you determine what you do? How you decide to leave? Because go ahead.
Oh my gosh, this is such a good question. So can I tell you, I was on my Twitter literally yesterday. I deleted a tweet. In June, I went to this furniture store, and I will share the furniture store that I went to because I think it's important that we share this information as consumer to consumer. I went to a furniture store called Our House. It's like luxury furniture, really high-end furniture. Love this store. And I've really been watching this sofa. I wanted to get this sofa. And I was like, let me save up my coins and I'm going to go get this furniture at Our House. So I go there. Literally, it's a brick and mortar store. So I go there. I walk through the store. I circled the store. Nobody spoke to me. I said, okay, maybe I'm tripping. Let me circle the store one more time. So I walked around the store one more time. Nobody spoke to me, and the salespeople were on the floor. But no one acknowledged me. And I looked around, I touched things. Like, I was really intentional about this visit because I'm like, look, I'm about to drop a couple $1,000s on this table and these chairs, right? I want to make sure like I'm getting good service. I'll have you know, I walked out that store and I tweeted, and I was like, I tweeted to the company, and I was like, by the way, move that because you're gonna spill it. Sorry. I'm like, by the way, I walked around in your store and nobody acknowledged my presence. I'm not spending money here. Customer service where, right? There was a lack of customer service. And it's so sad because I really liked that table. And I ended up getting my table from Ashley. And I spent way less. And I got a beautiful table. And so it was just that one bad experience that lets me know as a patron, I won't be going back to Our House almost never again.
Right. I mean, I am like that too, and especially knowing all that I know, it's really difficult for me to just be spending my money anywhere. Like, I worked hard for my money, and I see what you're doing. I'm not, I pick up on everything. But one of the things that's kind of hard for me in this position now is to talk about companies, because I want to be balanced and I want to be fair, right? And it's very easy for me to shoot up when I see the bad stuff or I get the bad service. But I am more hesitant to talk about the good ones because I am fearful that if I haven't gone there a couple of times, I'm not sure that this is something that is consistent. And I don't want to say it and then persons who know what I do go off of what I have said and then it's not great, you know?
Yeah.
So I tend to kind of stay away from it a little bit. But outside of that, I mean, everyone knows that bad news travels faster than the good. So you need to ensure that you're consistently doing well so you have that reputation and you don't have something negative out there flying around that is killing off the good that you think you are doing. Because of course you have to keep track of the research and what's going on, what's new. And it's something like 80% of companies think they offer an excellent service. And it's 20% of the customers who agree with them. So are you actually living in your own little bubble thinking you're doing great?
That's
and the customers are doing something else. So we're there. Make that gap a little bit smaller for you.
Very true. You know what's also really good too to think about? Just even for you, that must be hard for real because you see, like this is your area, like this is your jam. So
yeah, here's an a slight recommendation will carry weight. It will carry weight. So I have to be careful. So I'll go a few times. And another thing too, if you say you know me personally, I won't give you any feedback on what your company is doing unless you ask me. Because if I just say it to you and you like we're friends or acquaintances and so on, it can come out pretty rough. Yes. And I have not to do that too. So if you really want to know and I came there, you can ask me and I might give you some information and say, you need to see me.
Yes.
Or if I am a patron once or twice and I don't say anything, something is wrong. But you have to ask me. You have to ask me because I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you, but I'm not going to be blunt with you if you didn't ask me my opinion. You know what I do? So if you wanted to know, you'd ask me, right?
That is so funny. Oh my gosh, I'm just thinking about what Glassdoor looks like with your reviews. What does Yelp look like?
There is this one review that I did on Google for some company, a realtor. The review has about 3,000 views already. People are using it to make their decisions, etc. And once I saw that one take off, I was like, okay, let me be a little more careful. It was an honest review, you know, but I'm like, let me be a little more careful because I see what can happen here.
Yeah. No, that's good though. That is it. So the good thing is, right, when Spike speaks, we're gonna listen. So we're gonna patronize. We're gonna. Oh, when Spike speaks, I like that. When you speak, like we're gonna patronize a store because we know. Well, Alex went here and she had a good experience. Or Alex went here and she said, "Don't go there again." You know what I mean? So that is true. Mm-hmm. That is true that the Spike does carry weight.
Funny story though, we used to do something called Spike breakdowns based on stories or information that our followers used to send to us. We haven't done it in a while. And we used to do the videos and everything. And it was weird. Like some companies, they saw it and they really grabbed onto it and they did all the stuff that we said in the videos. They were like thankful, they sent us emails, whatever. Then there were others, usually with older folks attached to it, who were like, we know what we're doing, we're not changing anything. And they just continued in the same vein with the same outcome. So it's like, you never know what the reception is going to be, but I can tell you for a fact, if we do a Spike breakdown on you, it's in your best interest to listen to the things that we're saying. You're getting free advice.
Right.
They're still up on our channel, so people can, on our page, so you can watch it and see if anything applies to what you're doing and take a few gems and then come and see us for something that's specific to you. Because we had stopped one for a little bit, like we had less openings, but we're going to have more availability now. So
I want to plug you again, just for anybody that's listening. If you are a small business owner or even a business owner and you never thought through your customer experience, right? Like You know how your business runs from the back end, but how do people perceive your business? You need to connect with Alex for that. Like, legit. It's so important. And I'm telling you, people all day want to get caught up on graphics. Oh my gosh, my graphics, my graphics. No, you need to be worried about your customer journey before your graphics.
Right? I mean, I'm not going to knock any graphics,
Right.
but graphics is only going to go so far. It might get the attention, and then what? I think there's a video we even have up now. I did that video talking about, you're spending so much money on your sales endeavors and marketing, which includes your graphics. You're spending so much money there. You get the eyes, and then nothing happens, or people start and then they stop. Why is that happening? So if you really want that investment to continue for you to see the full return, you need to be thinking about the customer journey. What are you requiring of people to do? Are they really seeing what they need to see? All of that. And one thing I like to say, because of course, none of us start at the point where we want to be. There is a journey, because, you may not have all the resources you need for things to look how you want them to.
Yeah.
But you work towards it. So you may have, the quick website. That was what you could afford. You do it. But as you grow, you identify the places that you need to grow in, and you grow into it, because we have to do it too. All of us have to do it. So I don't want people to feel like we're going to always give you this big plan that you can't afford. You will get a plan that is in stages, so you can continue to grow. You grow into it, you reach this milestone, you continue. So we're thinking about the budget, but we have to, in order to grow, you have to invest, right?
Yes. So good. I love that. I love that you stay with them through the different phases of their business, because it's important.
Right. We like to partner with you, because it's an ongoing thing. It's ongoing. Right? So we always ask about a bad experience. Of course, we have to ask about a good one. What is an excellent experience you had? You would love it if this was your experience all the time with everybody you had to do business with.
Oh my gosh, this is such a great question. So I've had more great experiences than I had bad experiences, praise God. But one of my favorite events favorite clients that I worked with was literally, they had no idea. This particular client had no idea what they needed. They just know that they wanted to do something virtually, and they didn't know how it was going to be executed or what the team should look like. And so when they approached me to engage me for services, they were like, hey, this is what we have in mind, but we need your expertise to get us, to the finish line. And so this client was my favorite, because honestly, they trusted me so much from inception to completion that they just turned over full autonomy. Like, I love when clients come to me and they trust me for my professional expertise, and they just allow me to do my thing. It's like, you're engaging us, right? You're spending quite a bit of money, right, to bring us on board, to make you look good. Like, let us do our thing so that you can do your thing. Those are my favorite clients, when they just hire us, they trust our judgment, they implement our advisory, and then we just execute, and they look good.
Well, that's excellent to have that kind of trust with your clients, and that goes to something has to be going on, but to engineer that kind of trust with clients. And sometimes it doesn't even mean that you did anything specifically with that client, but it's your reputation that precedes you, your work that they have seen and experienced, and what other customers have said that causes people to just be blind with you. And I mean, but for me, I've had that experience when it comes on to doing my hair. Like, if I go and sit down in Nass's chair, like Nass's stylist, if I go and sit in her chair, most of the time, I don't say anything. I say, Nass, you do what you want to do. I know when I get up, I'm going to be fine.
Happy. Mm-hmm.
If I go somewhere else, you have to be stealing glances in the mirror to make sure that, it's coming out how you want it, so you don't know what's going to happen. You're unsure. And it's the experience that people have that's going to determine how people feel, and the hesitancy or the security they have with working with you. So I think a lot of times we kind of think that we discount smaller interactions, but it's these smaller interactions that build up for persons to decide whether or not they're going to continue engaging you. So that's something that's really
good. That hair analogy was perfect, because it took me to thinking about food, right? Like, even when we go get food, like, I love Chipotle. I don't know about anybody else, but I love Chipotle because I know every time the flavors are going to be consistent and my belly is going to be full and I'm going to be happy. Versus going to like a mom and pop, I'm not really sure how they made this chicken. I don't know what sauces they're going to use. I know it's going to be spicy, but I don't know if I'm going to love it. But I know if I go to Chipotle, I'm going to be happy for my $9 bowl. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So that is very important. Very important.
Yeah. Before we continue, if you guys have any questions or comments, we can see them. So go ahead and drop any questions that you might have. Remember, Karlet is all the event stuff, so maybe she can answer. So
I'm happy to.
Right? And of course, customer experience, customer services, that is me. That is me over here. So as I was saying, like it was you had something, I can't remember what it was, that I went to recently, or recent enough, where you spoke about hopping and you gave this chart and all of that. And that just goes to show that my experiences with you from your previous event that I went to has caused me to have faith in whatever you produce now. So if you are producing something and I'm available and it fits what I'm doing, there is no hesitancy for me to go and engage, because I know it's a spike recommendation. I know that I'm going to get more than I paid for, and I'm going to come out knowing more than I even had questions about. So that's based on my experience. I would continue to recommend your products or services based on whatever person's needs are. So
I appreciate that. And you see, this goes back to what I said initially when I came on here, right? Like, literally, that word of mouth, and it doesn't matter who it comes from, word of mouth marketing supersedes everything else. It doesn't matter how much money you're investing in Facebook ads or whatever ads or promos, right? If somebody tells somebody that you did a bad job and if that chain keeps going, like, literally it affects you. So I appreciate that.
Yes. And like word of mouth, it goes so much further and faster now because of technology. Look at when people are shopping on Amazon and Shein. The first thing people press is the review section to see what other people said about it. Even here on Instagram, you are going to look at the comment sections, depending on the page you're on, because people are not afraid to say anything, especially on Twitter, right?
Oh my God, yes.
So people are loud and proud, and everyone wants to say whatever they have to say. So, and it travels fast. What I've noticed though, a lot of companies have invested in technology to help them to combat that in the Twitter space, because Twitter is so like cutthroat.
Especially Black Twitter, girl. Black Twitter.
Right, it's so cutthroat. So even some of them you don't even at them, but based on the words you put, they might respond to your message anyway. And sometimes it turns out to be so hilarious. But that just goes to show how companies know that this matters. So, sorry, as smaller business owners, I don't want us to think that because we are not large and we don't have the money to have this big technology that we don't have to think about these things. We just have to approach it maybe from a smaller scale and continue to watch it as we grow. But it is important to do it for yourself as well. It's important to develop the relationships with your customers. And coming full circle right back to what Karlet was saying earlier about being familiar. Not because you're a smaller business owner and people are going to see you means that you have to be overly familiar. You can still be professional but friendly, but you are not going to treat people like, oh, we're friends, I just do whatever I want to do, etc., etc. And have to be careful too about what you're doing to your brand, because I see a lot of people making comments from their business accounts on things, some wild comments like you cannot do that. It's your business reputation, and it's people are forming ideas about you, your brand, what the service is going to be like, just based on these things you're doing all over the place. So to keep in mind all these.
Gosh, I wanted to say something that was so interesting, and we didn't touch on it, but I think it's important to.
Go ahead.
So, as small business owners, right, people misuse text message communication, okay? So, I had someone recently submit a huge influencer reach out to me via text, and I was like, gosh, how did they even get my number? Obviously, someone gave them my number. But this person texted me and was like, hey, it's such and such. I'm like, how do I know this is true? And they're like, oh, such and such gave me your number. So I'm like, okay, cool. I believe it because, you know, who the referral came from. So you guys, when you're communicating with people, strangers or potential clients, like, you still have to be professional. Like, we're not friends. I don't know you. Yeah, you may have my phone number, but we're not friends. You're inquiring about a service. I'm personally always going to redirect you back to my email. I'm always going to redirect you back to my email. We can text all day and kiki in the DM, but if it involves business, I'm always redirecting you to my email because, I mean, we got to make sure we have some kind of record here on this conversation if we should choose to enter into contract, right? If you should choose to enter a purchase, those text messages do not uphold in a court of law, okay? And at the level of clients that I service, I need to make sure like I have everything in one streamlined place. So please, you guys, be really careful and really sensitive to what you guys are texting as small business owners, especially if you provide if you have a service-based business. That text message can get really tricky, really tricky.
Yes, definitely. I mean, one of the things we tell our clients about is that you really have to direct the traffic to your business. You have to direct people to the platforms that you want them to engage you on based on what they're doing. So yes, you know, you strive as much as possible to keep people in the channel of their preference, but it's also up to you based on what you're providing to give people instructions beforehand. Say, if you want to do this, contact us at X. Don't leave things just open because then things are everywhere and you can't manage and everything just gets muddy. Yeah. So it's important, as we were saying at the top, like, you know your process, direct people through your process, keep on doing it. And don't get weary because remember, you are doing it every day. You know it like the back of your hand. But customers, they're not interested in your business. They don't know. So you're going to have to tell them every day and be okay with repeating yourself. You have to do that. It's a part of it. And don't get annoyed with the customer for the same question. You know, it's a different customer. They don't know.
Right. And also to add to that too is if you guys are in the beginning stages, because a lot of people that are watching are in the like beginning stages of building their businesses, you guys invest in a professional email address, okay? As a part of your customer journey, that's important. Like if I see, you know, Kiki's Hairstyling Boutique at gmail.com, now Kiki gonna think me and you as friends. You know what I mean? Like, no, like invest in a professional email, designated email address. Literally, Google Suite is a great place to start. You can do it for like, I think what, $8, $8.66 a month precisely is how much it costs to get a professional email address with Google. Like, invest in those things because it matters with how your customers perceive you.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, even if you use other options, you can have one. Right. And you can have like, I think they call it aliases. So everything does go to the same place, but if you have more than one person in your business, they can use it and look professional as well. Mm-hmm. And even if you don't have one for everybody, have one. So at least they know that this is the central one, so it can be copied on all emails. People have more security. And as you grow and as you can afford it, you add more.
Perfect. What she said. That's why she is the pro, you guys. That's right. That is absolutely right.
Right. So there's so much to think about. And as we've been saying, I encourage you guys to get in touch with us so you are not messing up. You're not missing the bag because of small things that you are overlooking. Right. So, of course, we have our one-on-ones. We have CX Unlocked, and we have custom packages that we do. It's normally bigger packages, but it depends on what you want. We're trying to work with you because Spike was born out of me being annoyed with the bad service, and bad service should not happen at any level. So just get in touch with us.
That is so cool. Like, you had a bad experience. You were like, I'm going to do something about this. That is so
Yes, I was like, look, I have the knowledge, I have the experience, I can do this. I'm annoyed with it. I'm not going to continue spending my money. And I mean, it was everywhere. At that point in my life, I was just traveling. I was just everywhere. And I'm like, this is bad. It's not unique to a country. It's not unique to a city. It's not unique. It's just... So, yeah.
Yes, good point. It's not unique to a country. It's not unique to a what is the word I'm looking for? It's not to a demographic, right? So it's just not
right. It's not unique to a demographic. Well, you know, one thing I have to point out, I don't know if you must have experienced this, but tell me, when people are being so nice to you but not addressing your concern, that is not good service. It doesn't matter how nice you are, how long you're smiling. You are not acknowledging if you're not acknowledging what I'm saying, offering a solution for it, or even taking responsibility for what I'm saying, you are not doing a good job. No matter how calm your voice is, no matter how nice the words are that you're using, you are just frustrating and more than likely infuriating your customer, because that is really annoying.
Yep. So for an example, just to give them like a true example of what that looks like, it looks like this. It looks like this. When you're in a store and they hunker down and they kind of do one of these and they're like, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I understand. What's the solution? I'm sorry, but I understand. No, I hear you. What do you hear? What are we going to do about it? You know, like, that's what that looks like.
Yeah, people want solutions. People don't want to feel. When we're not at a therapy session, therapy is different. If I am purchasing something, I want a solution from you. I have a problem, find my solution. And sometimes you don't have a solution at the ready. That's okay. Tell them, look, I know this is a problem. I'm really going to try to fix this for you. Give me X amount of time. Let me speak with my team and see how I can fix this for you and get back to you. What's your number? What's your email address? Yeah. And ensure that you follow up. It's okay if you don't know the answer off the top of your head, but what are you going to do?
Yep, that's right. Exactly. That was such a good point, because it happens all the time.
All the time.
Literally. Yeah. It happens all the time, quite literally.
Yes. I am so glad I got to speak with you tonight, Karlet, and I'm sure everyone is happy that you were on. We got a lot of good information, and I hope everybody takes the advice that we gave tonight. And I hope a lot of you start to follow Karlet and start to follow me. So
your audio went out. What happened to your audio? We like losing your audio.
Are you hearing me now?
You sound far away. Did you move the phone a little bit?
I didn't do one thing.
I guess Instagram knew.
The time is running out.
No, but this was so much fun. Thank you for having me. You guys, book a consultation with Alex. So important to think about your customer journey. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for being on. I really appreciate it. Thanks everyone for joining the live tonight. And of course, you'll see the next time we are having fun. So have a great week, everybody. And you can watch the replay on Instagram or on our YouTube channel. All right? Have a good night. Thanks, Karlet. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.